Have you ever been hated for telling the truth? Not because you were rude, not because you were wrong, but simply because you saw too clearly. There's a certain pain that only the intelligent know. The pain of saying something obvious and watching the room turn cold. The pain of offering clarity and being met with silence. The pain of being right and being punished for it. In a sane world, intelligence should shine. But in a world built on delusion, truth feels like an attack. And when your mind cuts through illusion, even gently, people recoil. Not because they don't understand you, but because deep down, they do. Schopenhauer understood this better than most. To him, intelligence wasn't a blessing. It was a liability. Not because it's wrong to be smart, but because being too real, too soon, too openly is dangerous in a world that feeds on appearances. You've seen this. You offer a better idea, they call you arrogant. You correct a mistake, they never forget it. You challenge a flawed belief and suddenly you're excluded. Why? Because in a stupid world, clarity is not rewarded, it is feared. And the more you try to shine, the more you become a target. You thought brilliance was enough, but you were playing the wrong game. This isn't a world of truth, it's a world of ego. And ego will always choose comfort over insight. So what do you do when intelligence becomes a threat? Schopenhauer had an answer. You act stupid, but only on the surface. Beneath that, you become untouchable. Schopenhauer didn't believe in fighting stupidity head-on. He believed in surviving it. Not by lowering yourself, but by learning the subtle art of becoming invisible to those who cannot bear to see you. You see, we're taught that intelligence is a torch, that we should carry it proudly through the darkness, that the world will gather around its warmth. But what if the world hates the light? Schopenhauer's genius wasn't just in what he saw, it was in what he chose not to reveal. Because he understood something most brilliant people learn too late. Clarity without strategy is suicide. The moment you speak with too much precision, you threaten the illusions others live inside. You shine light where they've built shadows. And when that happens, you're not admired, you're attacked. Because no one likes being reminded that the ground they stand on is made of sand. So Schopenhauer developed a philosophy of survival, a way to be brilliant without being burned for it. And at the heart of it was a paradox. The smarter you are, the dumber you must sometimes appear. Not because you're deceiving the world, but because you're protecting your mind from it. Think about it. What happens to the employee who offers the best idea too soon? He's told he's too intense. Next time, he stays silent. What happens to the friend who speaks the truth at the wrong dinner party? She's labeled as negative. Next time, she nods and smiles. It's not that they were wrong. It's that they made others feel small. And in a world ruled by ego, people never forget the person who made them feel exposed. Schopenhauer saw this clearly. He called it the herd instinct. That deep animal urge in people to protect comfort, not truth. So if you're sharper, clearer, more awake, you become a threat to that comfort. And threats don't get invited back. But here's where it gets interesting. You don't have to be less. You just have to look like less. The cloaked genius knows this. He doesn't fight the herd. He walks among them, unnoticed. He asks questions he already knows the answers to. He lets others finish his sentences poorly. He nods when he disagrees. He disappears into the background until the moment comes when the room needs him. Then a single sentence. Surgical. Disarming. Undeniable. That's not manipulation. That's precision. Because influence isn't about proving how much you know. It's about choosing when you let others see it. And those who master this, they don't stand in the spotlight. They build the stage beneath it. They're the ghost in the room, the one people whisper about after they've left, the one whose silence makes others second-guess themselves. Why? Because the world doesn't fear loud. It fears unreadable. It fears what it cannot predict, label, or control. This is why the truly powerful don't rush to speak. They don't argue in comment sections. They don't need to win debates. They just listen longer than most can bear. And while everyone else is performing, they're studying the cracks. It's a game of timing, of withholding, of letting others underestimate you, because underestimation is leverage. You can't attack what you can't see. You can't compete with someone you think is beneath you. And by the time you realize who they are, they've already restructured the entire game. That's the genius of acting stupid in a stupid world. You stop wasting energy trying to be understood. You start controlling what others think they understand about you. And while they're busy trying to prove themselves, you're already inside the system. Schopenhauer knew, if you show your mind too soon, you'll provoke the herd. But if you conceal it just long enough, you become untouchable. Because in the end, it's not brilliance that wins the world. It's brilliance disguised as simplicity. So let them talk. Let them explain what you already know. Let them feel taller in your silence. Because they think silence means you have nothing to say. They don't know it means you're just waiting for the right moment to say it. So what do you want? Do you want to be admired for what you say in the moment? Or remembered for what you never had to say? Do you want to be heard like everyone else? Or felt long after you've left the room? Because here's the truth. Power does not belong to those who perform. It belongs to those who withhold. You were told to express yourself, to be seen, to be bold. But Schopenhauer would ask, to whom and for what? Not all eyes deserve your soul. Not all conversations deserve your insight. Not every moment is worthy of your presence. You don't need the world's validation. You need its dependency. And that doesn't come from shouting. It comes from stillness, from distance, from knowing when to disappear and when to strike. Imagine this. A woman in a meeting says nothing. She listens, she smiles, she nods. And just when the team runs out of ideas, she says one sentence. And everything changes. She doesn't chase credit. She doesn't raise her voice. And yet no one moves forward without her. That's not charisma. That's gravity. And it's built in silence. You don't need to dominate the room. You need to become the room's center of gravity. Because people don't crave loudness. They crave certainty. And nothing feels more certain than someone who speaks rarely, but moves precisely. This is your leverage. Every word you don't say builds pressure. Every action you delay creates tension. Every absence makes them notice your weight. You become the one they whisper about, the one they wonder about, the one they underestimated until it was too late. And by then, you're not competing. You've already redefined the rules. Desire isn't about chasing attention. It's about becoming the thing attention can't ignore. And the only way to do that is to stop giving yourself away. Don't explain yourself. Don't perform intelligence. Don't offer answers to people who ask only to dismiss you. Withdraw. Not in weakness, but in calculation. Because while they posture for approval, you're memorizing the flaws in their logic. While they overshare, you're gathering information. And when they think you've vanished, you return with silence that cuts sharper than words. Think of the intern who says little but knows how the entire system runs. Think of the friend who disappears during drama, only to return as the one everyone now trusts. Think of the quiet strategist who lets others take the spotlight until the moment he pulls the string behind the curtain. That's not luck, that's architecture. Desire is never earned by asking for it. It's earned by becoming the person who doesn't need to ask. Let them lean closer. Let them wonder. Let your restraint become the standard they measure themselves against. Because people chase what they can't define. They fear what they can't predict. And they desire what they can't control. You don't become powerful by being impressive. You become powerful by being impossible to dismiss and impossible to access. So stop giving your energy to people who drain it. Stop trying to be understood by people who've never listened. Stop proving your worth in rooms not designed to value it. Instead, become selectively visible. Let your words be rare. Let your presence be earned. Let your absence speak louder than your performance ever could. Because once they've felt your presence, they'll feel your absence even more. And once you learn this, once you master the rhythm of holding back, you won't need applause or attention or affirmation. You'll have something far more potent: control over how the world experiences you. That's when desire shifts. That's when they stop measuring your words and start measuring their own by your silence. You become the one who no longer needs to speak, because now others speak to you, seek you, and wait for you. And you wait for no one. Once you understand that the world punishes clarity and fears quiet strength, your actions begin to change, not outwardly, not dramatically, but fundamentally, because you no longer speak to be heard. You speak to reposition. You no longer move to be seen. You move to recalibrate the space around you. You no longer try to prove intelligence. You use it like a concealed blade, sharp, silent, and decisive. You realize that real power isn't in constant reaction. It's in chosen restraint. So you stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop correcting those who confuse confidence with threat. You stop placing your insight before those who are only looking for validation, not truth. Instead, you act with precision. You disappear when noise rises. You watch when others rush to respond. You store your observations like a tactician studies weakness. Because in a stupid world, the one who doesn't speak becomes the one everyone watches. The one who doesn't rush becomes the one who shapes the pace. And the one who withholds becomes the one they can't forget. You move like a shadow, not to hide, but to disorient those who need labels to feel safe. And when they cannot label you, they begin to fear you. Not because you've threatened them, but because your silence exposes their noise. That is the brilliance of acting stupid. You shift from being a target to becoming a question, an unknown, a variable no one can predict. And in that ambiguity, you control attention without seeking it. You shape conversations without needing to speak. You enter rooms without disrupting them, and still leave behind the heaviest presence. Schopenhauer would call this survival by subversion, not submission, but selection. The ability to move through the world untouched because you've chosen to not be fully seen. So you don't react when baited. You don't speak just to fill the silence. You don't reveal the depth of your knowledge unless the moment is surgically precise. You do less, but you mean more. You become harder to access, harder to offend, harder to read, and in doing so, you become impossible to dismiss. Because you've stopped playing the ego game, you've left the arena where approval is currency, and stepped into a space where influence is built by absence, by consistency, by knowing that those who appear the least often are remembered the most vividly. You start studying people more than you speak to them. You notice who interrupts, who over-explains, who postures, and every time they reveal themselves, you sharpen your advantage. You don't strike back, you set traps of silence, and watch who falls into them. Your action becomes non-action. Your strength becomes neutrality. Your decisions become invisible until their impact becomes irreversible. And in this stillness, you gain time to think deeper, to anticipate further, to see through the fog of noise that drowns most people in endless reaction. While others are busy performing intelligence, you are becoming irreplaceable by making fewer moves, but making them count. The world will call you distant, hard to read, cold, but what they mean is that you are no longer controllable. You've learned that silence isn't the absence of action, it's the most powerful form of it. Because when you finally speak, it lands like thunder. When you finally move, it shifts the entire room. When you return, it's not to be noticed, it's to change everything. And when they ask why you stayed quiet, why you disappeared, why you didn't fight back, the answer is simple. Because you were building something they couldn't see. And now that it's finished, they can't ignore it. That is the genius of acting stupid in a stupid world, not becoming less of yourself, but using less of yourself in plain sight, reserving your true depth for moments that demand it, refusing to bleed brilliance into spaces that haven't earned it, and becoming the person who holds the sword without ever needing to draw it. If this video spoke to something deep inside you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for spending your time with us. Your presence means more than you know. Until next time, stay sharp, stay silent, stay powerful.